Hello students, today we are going to learn about half-life. So what is half-life? Half-life is the amount of time needed for a substance to decrease or reduce its value by half. Half-life is commonly used when studying the radioactivity of substances. So how do you solve this? Well, first of all, let's pretend we have 100 grams of a radioactive isotope with a half-life of 10 years. And when solving these problems, these half-life math problems, sixth graders, you need to first look at the amount. The amount is 100 grams. This is the initial amount, the beginning amount. And you need to look at the half-life. The half-life is 10 years. And the first step when solving this is to set up a table, amount with time. And in our case, the amount was 100 grams, and the time starts at 0, because right now no time has passed and we have 100 grams of the substance. Now we recall on the previous slide that the half-life was 10 years. So we know that in 10 years' time, this amount will decrease by half. So step 2 is calculating the first half-life. So we put in those 10 years' time, and we decrease the amount by half, and you just do some simple division. 100 divided by 2 is 50. So after 10 years' time, the amount would be 50. Now sometimes they may give you a challenging question such as, how much would be left after 5 years? Now you might say, okay, wait, the half-life was 10, so in 10 years it's going to be 50. But in 5 years, well, that's between 0 and 10. What number is between 150? 75. So there may be some tricky ones like that, but let's just show you the regular way to do it. And then after you get the initial half-life, you just find the subsequent half-lives. You can get as many as you need. The one thing about half-life is it goes on forever. The amount will never reach 0. It will just keep getting half and half and half. And you will get some pretty small decimal numbers if you continue on for a while. So the next one, the half-life was 10 years. So after 20 years, we will get to the second half-life. And after the amount of the second half-life would, of course, be 25. All right, it's your turn. I think you're ready. So you have 88 grams of isotope UE. This substance has a half-life of 11 years. How many years will pass before there are only 5.5 grams of this substance left? So remember, you're going to set up that table and you're going to solve. So I'm going to pause and you can begin. All right, let's see how you did. So first of all, you set your table up amount and time, and you saw that the original amount was 88 and the half-life was 11. But you know, and this is a common mistake I've seen over the years, sixth graders, you don't start at 11 on time, you start at 0. 88 is the amount, the time starts at 0. So hopefully you had 88 and 0 as your first one. If you put 88 and 11 here, you're going to be off the rest of the way, so you need to start over. So now, we recall from the text, the half-life is 11 years. So we put up 11 next. Half of 88, probably mental math for most of you, half of 88 is 44. We keep going though, because remember, our goal is to see how many years pass before there are only 5.5 grams left. And we are at 44, so we have a ways to go. So next half-life occurs 22 years after the initial time. So every 11 years, we add a half-life. 22, so 22 and 22. Next, okay, you can sometimes you want to just add the half-lives. Sometimes you just decrease or divide by 2. So this time we divided by 2 right away. 22 divided by 2 was 11, and now we add 11, not because it's here, but because that's the half-life. We add 11 to the 22, and we get 33. Still not there yet. Now we add another half-life. Every 11 years, remember that's where I'm getting this information from. Every 11 years there's a half-life. And then we cut 11 in half, and we get 5.5 grams. So to answer our question, how many years will pass before there are only 5.5 grams of the substance left? If you answered 44, you got it right. So you're going to see a lot of problems like this. My advice, always make a table. Amount, time, start with 0 on the time, start with the initial amount, and then add the half-lives and just keep dividing by 2, and I think you're going to get it.